On this week's episode of Becoming Limitless, we dive deep into mindset shifting. This is week 5 of 8 of Elevate 88, the 8-step energy movement to bring you to a regulated state. Let go of limiting beliefs, step into your inner authority, and truly experience a shift in your reality. These are the subpillars we'll be discussing in today's episode of Mindset Shifting. Mirror perspective. Bringing our awareness to treat life as a mirror so we can gain clarity of what we're looking to change in our lives. Subconscious roots. Bringing our awareness to our patterns and triggers so that we know where they come from. Belief awareness. Bringing our awareness to the beliefs we're holding on to and shifting our self-identity and embodying that. On this week's episode, we're in Tulum, Mexico. Look at that cute little guy. I haven't seen caterpillars and butterflies everywhere. And for me, that is the symbol of transformation, and I feel like that is a symbol for everyone. When we become a new self, we go through a metamorphosis and leave that caterpillar self we used to know. And I believe that's perspective we need to take into our lives, is that throughout our lives, we're continuously in a state of metamorphosis if we choose. We're continuously choosing to grieve the old self as we grow more and more. And this is why I felt called to this week focus on mindset shifting. The previous weeks of this vlog, I really did focus on regulating my nervous system, allowing my body and time to rest after a very stressful few months. But now I was feeling called to really dig deep into the integration of things, to let the self I've healed, to grieve the old self I've come to know, to integrate the new things I've learned, and to step into that new version of myself. Mindset shifting often comes with coming out of the mind, and I think that's so funny. Sometimes we focus on trying to just change our mindset, but the more we draw our attention and energy to the mind, the more frustrated we get, the more anxiety we feel, the more we want to just change and not knowing how. And that is why I want to talk about the mirror perspective. This is the first subpillar that I really like to focus on in everyday life, and especially in this 8-week energy movement Elevate 88. The mirror perspective is basically for you to look at your life as a mirror, a reflection, if you will. We manifest in accordance to who we are, the life we're experiencing. So that's really a great tool just to use throughout your life, to understand that if there's something that keeps repeating that's undesired, there's something that we need to change, either of our environments or of ourselves, the beliefs we hold on to, healing an old trauma, addressing our subconscious patterns, looking at all the different details of our lives and why it's manifesting in that way. And that's what it comes down to. We talk about in regards to healing that we need to take full responsibility for that. And it's true, but that's with everything in life. It all comes back to you. For decades, I felt like a victim to my life. I attracted a lot of struggle and I continued to hold this victim mindset. But it wasn't taking responsibility in all areas of my life, of mind, of my environments, my connections, my careers, all the things. That's when my life really started to change. The universe will move for you when you decide to make the change, when you make a decision to let go of what no longer serves you. When we look at life as a mirror, this is a really great tool. It can be as simple as when you're attracting certain connections and perhaps you are coming into this space of recognizing there's a repetitive pattern that you're attracting someone who maybe is emotionally unavailable. Perhaps you have a certain view that you want someone to look a certain way. We say it all the time, that's my type. But what we're really saying is, that's my pattern. And I know that's triggering. But to truly embrace change, sometimes we need to look at life as a mere reflection, to ask the deep-rooted questions to say, why am I attracted to this and why is it attracted to me? Whether it be how you address your finances, how you manifest a career or business, whether you're trying to stick to healthy habits, whatever it is you're looking to change in your life, looking at life as a mirror really just helps us to gain awareness that we have the opportunity to change, but we need to go deep within ourselves to really understand the truth of why we are accepting this into our lives, why we are taking certain aligned actions, why we feel triggered into certain things. My perception and what I've experienced is that we're co-creators in this life. So looking at life as a mirror is really for you to say, what is it I am creating in my life that is undesired? What is it I am looking to change? And facing the truth of that, to heal past traumas, to set boundaries, to address different things. This is your life, your reality. So treating life as a mirror is going to help you to uncover what needs to shift and change. Now, let's talk about subconscious roots. We manifest in accordance to our subconscious mind, the things we're not always conscious of that continue to manifest into our lives. So, in treating life as a mirror, it helps you to bring awareness to things, to ask the right questions that, yes, may sometimes be uncomfortable, but lead you to truth. And it's in asking questions of yourself and your reality that we bring awareness to the roots of our subconscious patterns. It's about peeling back the layers of things we've experienced time and time again to find the roots of ourselves that we will truly let go of old patterns and beliefs. When I first started my healing, I wasn't aware of the subconscious mind. I just asked myself questions and got really uncomfortable to understand that things need to change. And that's what it's about sometimes, is that sometimes when we're looking to change things, it's going to start about blaming our exterior world, the things that we have to face in the truth of what we're experiencing. Naturally, in healing, you start working on the subconscious mind. You start working on bringing awareness to those roots. So, here's a personal example of how I went through the layers over time to uncover the roots of my subconscious mind. Because when we uncover the roots, we bring awareness to it. And often, it's let go. Often, in awareness, things no longer affect us in our reality. Because everything is energy. And that's what I've come to know. Because if we're not aware of something, we have a really hard time understanding what it is we need to do. If you're stuck in the darkness, unless you find a light, you can't see what needs to shift and change or where to go. And that is the mind. We manifest a lot of the time in accordance to what we're unaware of. So it's uncovering the roots of the subconscious patterns we're holding onto that our life begins to change. So here's a personal example of how I uncovered the subconscious root patterns over time. I struggled for decades in binge eating. And when I first came to the realization of looking to make this change, I went into the healing to recognize the experiences I endured at an early age. Understanding that what I experienced was a lot of criticism. What I experienced was a home that I felt unsafe in my relationship with food, that I felt that I couldn't indulge without being criticized. I would come home, buy a pint of ice cream, literally go and lock the door in my room and just wolf it down behind the bed. And that was a sad thing. But it was in doing this healing, I began to peel back the layers to understand that I cannot let exterior sources be the reason that I hold on to this pattern. Because in the end, it all comes down to us. We are the co-creators of our reality. So in doing the healing and peeling back the layers, I had to really face the truth of what beliefs was I still holding on to of myself that were leading into these subconscious patterns that I felt I couldn't leave. In healing, I recognized that perhaps, yes, at different times I was a victim, but it was for me to understand that I can be the hero to my life. I can no longer live in a victim mindset. I have to make that shift, that change. And that meant shifting my perception that my exterior world would have control over me. It was in shifting my perspective to understand that if I uncover the roots of myself, I can manifest a different experience. I can rewire my patterns and my mindset. And it wasn't continually asking the questions when I felt triggered to binge that I found more answers. And in peeling back all those layers, I came to the realization of a root cause. That in accordance to my binging tendencies, it was when I felt unsafe in my home environment that my nervous system felt in dysregulation. It felt unsafe, which triggered me into this pattern of comfort in binge eating. And that was the root that I uncovered that triggered this subconscious pattern I felt for the longest time I had no control over. But then it was for me to address the fact that While yes, maybe this pattern didn't come from myself and from the experiences of my outer world, I could not continue life living in a state that this circumstance outside of myself, that it would trigger me into an undesired habit and my way of life. It's when you peel back the layers, ask those questions, and you find that root, that you can take responsibility and really focus on that root cause in accordance to your belief systems. And that is when your life starts to shift. That is when the patterns that you felt stuck to or were unaware were on repeat become let go. It's in awareness of the root cause that you're aware of it. You know exactly when you are triggered into something in future, what aspect of your life you actually need to address. If ever in future I'm triggered to binge, I know it's in accordance to my home environment, that I feel unsafe, whether that's in financial stability, whether that's the people I'm living with, whether that is the environment itself. It's for me to address my home stability that I can shift this aspect. The great thing about understanding your subconscious roots, it's actually the clue we need. It's actually the thing that can shift our awareness in life. And it's here. Once you know the root and you start asking the questions about your belief systems, that things will begin to change. In knowing what the root is, in accordance to, yes, perhaps me, in this example of binging, I know it has to do with my home environment, how I feel in my nervous system, in accordance to my stability, my safety, in a space, in an energy that I feel home, I feel safe. So in that, when I'm triggered in future, I ask the question, why is this coming up? What aspects do I need to change in my life? And why am I not making these changes? What beliefs am I holding on to that are not aligning me with the aligned actions that I need to take and to become that embodiment and shift that energy? And this is exactly the path. This is the path of healing. This is the path when things change for you. Really just asking the questions to peel back the layers to find the root of your subconscious patterns and then bringing it back to yourself. Understanding that, yes, we will be triggered in life, and that will have to do with what we've experienced in our exterior world. But then once you know the root, that's the awareness you need. That's the light we need to shine amongst the darkness, for us to be aware of what needs to shift in our lives, that we can then address our belief systems and take the aligned actions accordingly. To surrender to the outcome of the universe, but understand that we are the co-creators of our reality and we need to shift our beliefs and actions accordingly. So let's talk about belief awareness. Now, we talked about the mirror perspective and asking those questions, a great tool, which then leads into the subconscious roots for you to understand where your patterns come from. And then I already spoke of it, belief awareness. So it's an understanding the root of our subconscious patterns that we then can address our belief systems. And that's really what I just explained, is that when we're aware of the root cause of something, it's for us to ask the questions of what beliefs we're holding on to in accordance to ourselves. What we experience in our reality, in our family dynamics, and in society over time, layer on our subconscious belief systems. So it's for us to really face the discomfort in that truth, to bring awareness to the mindset that we need to shift and let go of the limiting beliefs we're holding on to. It's in belief awareness you can ask the questions of yourself and start practicing taking aligned actions. Addressing what feels authentic to you in accordance to your actions, what paths you want to take that excite you, and what beliefs are holding you back from stepping into that embodiment, into that direction, to change your life, to shift your mindset. Now, self-identity. If we hold an identity to something, that's what we manifest. Self-identity is an embodiment, and that's the energy we hold on to. So in shifting mindset, we need to understand that in the end, it comes down to who we identify ourselves to be, that we're going to experience that in our lives. Who we identify ourselves to be is the mindset we hold. If we identify ourselves as someone who's on a diet, that right there is the identity we don't want to hold. Diets are temporary. So that's the identity we're holding on to. That whatever diet we are pursuing, it's not going to last because we don't hold an identity to a healthy lifestyle. And this comes back to addressing your subconscious patterns and the limiting beliefs we're holding on to, and bringing it back to the mirror of your reality to understand why perhaps we're holding on to this identity. If we perceive that we are someone who's an introvert, you're right. You will hold on to that for dear life. If we say that we're stuck to anxiety and depression, that's the mindset shift that we need. And that's something I struggled with for most of my life. But it was in shifting the identity I hold with myself that I actually began to heal. Without medication, without all the things people were telling me to do, it was in shifting the self-trust of myself and holding a new belief system and identity that those things begin to fall away. But here's the thing. What's been built into society for generations is limitation of life and the beliefs we hold on to. But I can tell you, self-identity is the embodiment of your authenticity. And authentically, you are abundant. Authentically, you are limitless and can pursue anything you want to. And that's the identity we need to shift to. The identity of authenticity, of our inner power, and stepping into that. When you choose a path of loving yourself, you manifest that. When you say with intention that you deserve better of what you're accepting into your life, you shift that identity of yourself, and the universe meets you there. When you hold an identity as someone who can take responsibility and take care of yourself, you manifest that. When you hold an identity as a victim, we experience that as well. And this is mindset shifting. Focusing on all of these 4 pillars are going to help you in just asking the questions of yourself and your reality and what's manifesting in that way. And everyone loves to say what works for them. And yes, we can look at study, we can look at science, we can look at all of these details. Be a student in life. I think that's wonderful. But in the end, you need to sit with yourself in accordance to your mindset and ask the questions of you, your authenticity, and what you're attracting. Your mindset is going to be unique. We can take what people are telling us to do. We can take the advice, but it doesn't mean it's always going to work for us. It doesn't mean it's going to shift our mindset, our perspective, and our approach on life. So that means sitting with yourself, getting uncomfortable in your truth, and facing these 4 subpillars to ask the deep-rooted questions of what mindset you're actually holding on to, and going to peel back the layers that have just been conditioned over time from what we've experienced to this point, giving yourself some self-love to understand that we're all meant to embark on this journey of stepping into our authenticity to shift our perspective and start manifesting better things into our lives. We attract who we are. The universe meets you in accordance to who you embody. So in the end, I know it's hard, but it all comes back to you and the identity that you're holding on to. So do the stuff. Get uncomfortable. Give yourself some love. And know that this is a hard journey. But in the end, I know and I trust that the universe is going to bring you so much better than perhaps you can perceive in this moment. Trust the process. I know it's repetitive. Peel back the layers of focusing on yourself and your mindset, and watch as the universe starts to move mountains for you. And truly, that's my wish for you. Keep shining, lovely beings, and I'll see you on next week's episode of Becoming Limitless. Whee!